Okay guys, so when we started this channel, we started with the red 98 Suburban. You guys have seen several videos. So in that beginning, I said that we would do you a $2,500 budget for a daily driver. So as we narrowed down on that, I got a couple little small things I want to do to that, and then I'm going to give you guys a tally. So we're going to show the last little bit of work I need to do to it, which are parts that I bought in the beginning. And then we're going to put it to work, and then we'll do a later video to give you an entire budget of everything's been done on it. So let's get this started. So if you know anything about these old 88 to 98s, one of the biggest issues you have with them is the steering. The idler arm, the pitman arm, the tie rod ends, they go out, and it ends up, you'll be going down the road and it's driving for you. So, for instance, in that high wind the other day when I sold the Skylark, driving down the turnpike and it was just driving itself. I'd hit a little groove in the road, it would turn us right, steering wheel going left. So, while that can wear out your steering box, it's always this idler pitman arm stuff, and you can get underneath there and look, just wiggle these things around. So the kits are everywhere. That's a good thing. So you can find them anywhere you want. Get whichever one you want and replace it, and you'll get quite a bit of life out of it. So what we're going to do is get these upper ball joints in here. I've already got tie rod ends on it because I had one that was about to break as I was driving in the past. So then we got our idler arm and our new pitman arm. So we're going to get underneath it and raise it up, take some of that stuff apart. Didn't I just do this not too long ago? Yeah, that's good. This is the way you do it when you can't find a battery for your impact. Make that much more work on yourself. Show you how much play we actually have in this. This idler arm is so worn out. Look at this. I don't know, let's see here, you see a little bit right here. Watch this idler arm move. That's with it just sitting in park. Oh, got wild with the camera. So you can imagine going down the road how much that's pulling around. So you got all that slack, and the pitman arm's just as bad. You got all that slack, and your wheel's pulling this way, and you're trying to steer that way, and then you hit another groove and the wheel goes that way. So you try to counter steer it, and you're just sitting there doing this all day long. So it can get pretty dangerous. That's why we're changing this sucker out. Okay, so right front wheel off. Upper ball joint we know is bad, so we'll get all this off, and the new ones just bolt right in. These are riveted, except for one here, which holds your brake line on. So we'll be taking that out. You come here, get your cotter pin out, unbolt this. Same thing up there. That's your idler arm. And then over here on the driver's side, this is your pitman arm. Now this one is the pain in the rear in which you have to get it off this steering box right here, and that's a pain. I've already taken off the cover here and the skid plate so we can get to everything, and I have broken this loose. I'll get the wrench and show you what size that nut is right there, and we'll get it off there. And I've got a tool to remove this, and I had to modify it slightly for the previous one I did, and I'll show you what I did on that too. Show you how much play we actually have in this. This idler arm is so worn out. Look at this. I don't know, let's see in here, you see a little bit right here. Watch this idler arm move. That's with it just sitting in park. Oh, got wild with the camera. So you can imagine going down the road how much that's pulling around. So you got all that slack, and the pitman arm's just as bad. You got all that slack, and your wheel's pulling this way, and you're trying to steer that way, and then you hit another groove and the wheel goes that way, so you try to counter steer it, and you're just sitting there doing this all day long. So it can get pretty dangerous. That's why we're changing this sucker out. Okay, so I got the cotter pin removed. Got a 3/4 inch socket here. These are aftermarket, so you can run a 3/4 on it. If you're doing the OEM ones that came with the vehicle, it's probably going to be something like a 17mm or whatever equivalent is. It's going to be metric probably, but got 3/4 on it. I'm going to bust that loose. So we got the nut removed, cotter pins out. They make a good pitchfork tool for this. Mine used to be shaped like this, and they're more like that now, so I don't use those anymore. So what I really like to do is just get right here on the edge of this spindle and just give it just ever so slight little tap. Ever so slightly. Well, 4 hours and 13 F-bombs later, got the nut off of there. Wrench size, just for reference, I use the 1 5/16. Now, we got to pry the arm off from the steering box. Now, the tool I was going to show you is this here. Pitman arm puller, idler arm puller. And what I did, I went right here and I grinded it just to shave it down a little bit so it would fit in this groove right here. Now that worked great on my old 2-wheel drive, but on this one, there is no room to put that sucker onto here. So what we are going to have to do is go back with the one I didn't want to use, this pitchfork. So try to get positioned and knock that sucker loose. Idler arm, here's what it mounts to. So you got, there you go, see a little bit, you got those 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3 nuts. Pull those off, this whole thing will come off. So I'll be able to get this whole assembly out of there. Okay, so you can see, still got that hanging in there. The pitman arm is hung and stuck. Can't pull it out because of the sway bar. Sway bar loosened. Can't get out because of the A-arm here. So I've broken the A-arm loose here. I've got tension underneath on the torsion bar right here with the jack. So I've got this broken loose. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbolt this, get that brake line aside, and then I'm going to get a grinder and grind these rivets out. We'll pop that ball joint out, raise up that A-arm, get this sway bar loose and get it loose on the other side too, where we can pull it down. Finally get that steering out. Then we'll get the steering, take it over to the table, and tear everything apart finally. Now she's breaking loose. This is the worst one I've ever had to deal with before, but I'll have to get these rivets out now. You can see the old ball joint pretty well shot. New one will go in, it's got bolts, so we got to get rid of all this here. First steering project I've ever done in my life. I ain't kidding. And I'm just now getting started. So I tried pulling this apart when it was on the truck and I couldn't get it apart, so I wanted to get it up here on the table. So we got to get the new pitman arm and either arm on, so we got to break it from the drag link here and then break this off here because I got to put this back on. And I've got that puller I think I showed you earlier that I can use on this, so we'll get started on that right quick. Come on, are you kidding? Whoa. There's just no way in all hell I'd ever be on that damn tight. That one came right off. That's good. tired of messing with this. Alright. We're ready. Trying to drive this thing out of here with half the steering together on it. Well, that's going to do it for part one of the never-ending steering job. Such a mess. Such a mess. I'm going to get back on it tomorrow. We'll do a part two because this took way too long. So keep in mind this is right at the end of our budget build. And I'm going to put it to work after this is done on one project. And then I'm going to give you guys a tally on everything and show you everything that a budget daily driver can do for a decent amount of money and get a lot of work out of it and reliability and decent mileage. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.